Welcome to Withdraw Consent. I'm Victor. This is Jack. What's on your mind today?
Okay, so today I want to talk about the most racist person in history.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to make a statement and then I'm going to analyze the statement. Okay? So I'm going to make this statement, and it is that Hitler is evil. Why is he evil? Because he's a racist. Why is he a racist? Because he hates Jews.
Okay.
Okay, what does the word Jew mean?
Someone from Israel or of Israel descent, like ancient Israel?
Okay, so here's the problem. Jew means a lot of things, and we're not going to speak disparagingly here. We're just going to speak logically here. So there's three different words. It's Jew, Jew, and Jew. Okay?
Okay.
One is an ethnicity, one is a nationality, and one is an adherent of a religious group. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take those three words, Jew, 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 and I'm going to make three different words for them, and then we're going to go back and look at that statement, okay?
Okay.
First one, we're going to talk about ethnicity. Ethnicity, we're talking about, if you want to say Jews or white people, then you just look into it a little bit. But Jews as an ethnic group are a specific people with specific genetic markers. They're the only people on the planet that can get Tay-Sachs disease. They are unique people. They are historically said to be the descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
From the Bible.
Right,
Okay.
not Ishmael. And that would be a different thing. And so when I say, from now on, when I say in this conversation we're going to have, when I say the word Hebrew, not as a derogatory at all, I'm going to use the word Hebrew in place of the word Jew to describe ethnic descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
Where does the word Hebrew come from?
We're just going back to the original word used to describe the people.
Like in the Bible.
Right.
Okay, gotcha.
And then we'll get to the other word that they use to describe it.
Okay.
So then, in place of the word Jew to describe people who are adherents of the religion of Judaism, I'm going to say religious Jew. Just so that, I'm not using the triple meaning, that everybody else uses, but I am still using that word Jew, so I'm saying religious Jew. So a religious Jew could be a white person, black person, you could be from Africa, Asia. It doesn't matter. You're just an adherent of Judaism.
Okay.
A Hebrew could be a religious Jew, or they might not be a religious Jew. A religious Jew might be a Hebrew, they might not be a Hebrew. Do you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Because they're different things. One's an ethnicity, one's adherent to a religion. For the third group, we're going to talk about nationality, and we're going to use, instead of saying the Jews in Israel, we're going to say Israelis, because that's what we say nowadays. If you go back to the Bible, they would say Israelites, referring to your national origin. These are people who are citizens of Israel.
Okay.
You could be a citizenship for nationality could be Canadian and Israeli. That just means you have dual citizenship. That person may or may not be a Hebrew. That person may or may not be a religious Jew. So we're going to separate these things. Now we're going to go back to the statement. You ready?
Okay.
Hitler is evil. Why is Hitler evil? Because he's a racist. Why is he racist? Because he hates. What is the word? It's got to pick one of those three. What is it?
I have no idea.
Well, we just said racist. So what is the word that follows race?
Oh, so it's got to be Hebrew.
Hebrews, right. So Hitler is evil because Hitler is racist because Hitler hates Hebrews.
Okay.
Now we're going to look, is that true or false?
Okay.
100% false.
Oh.
See, there's been a conflation of terms here and you've been tricked. If you look at it, Hitler's personal doctor, he was not a religious Jew. He was Hebrew. Two of his field marshals, they were not religious Jews, they were Christian Hebrews. 200,000 of his soldiers, they say he had 200,000 Jewish soldiers. Nope, he had 200,000 Hebrew soldiers. They were Christians, right?
Oh, okay.
20 of those soldiers got the Knight's Cross, which is the highest wartime commendation. And so basically what's happened is people have been tricked by you conflating the word Jew for Jew instead of saying Hebrew or religious Jew. Because if you say Hitler is racist against Hebrews, fact check false. But if you say Hitler is religionist against religious Jews, fact check true. Do you see what I'm saying?
Okay.
Because they've conflated the two terms. And I mean, this happens all the time. And so if you made the statement, Hitler is the most racist person in history, he was a really big religionist. I could give you that,
Yeah.
There's a lot of really big religionists. But you're missing the point here,
Yeah.
And so I'm going to give you an actual example of when this happens. So we've got Lex Fridman, he's like a podcaster, and he does these real serious interviews. He's MIT graduate, teaches at MIT, or he taught at MIT. He's a Ukrainian Jew, which means Hebrew. So he's of Jewish ethnicity. He used to be of Ukrainian nationality, and now he calls himself like a Ukrainian American. So the Ukrainian American is his nationality now, right?
Okay.
Hebrew is his ethnicity, but he calls himself a Jew, right? And religiously, I can't remember. I think he's atheistic, but he's not, he's not a religious Jew. And so he's having this interview with Kanye West. Kanye West said something about Jews,
Right.
which could be Jew or Jew. He said something about Jews. And then here's the statement that Lex Fridman makes. He says, well, your statements really offend me because he's a Jew and Hitler did terrible things to Jews and you said something good about Hitler. Therefore, I'm offended as a Jew. None of that's true. And you could claim that he's ignorant right here, but he's not. That dude is sharp. That dude is intentionally obfuscating the thing. Because if you break down what he says, he's saying this. He's saying he's a Hebrew. Hitler did terrible things to Jews. Hitler hated Jews. You said something good about Hitler. Therefore, I'm offended on behalf of Jews because I'm a Hebrew. You're not in that group. You're in the army fighting for Hitler, not in a concentration camp or something, or you don't have to wear a star. You know what I mean? You're not that person, but you're conflating the two terms, and everybody's like, oh man, Kanye says, or he says terrible things about that Jewish guy, but he's not a Jewish guy. He's a Hebrew guy. Okay, so then in another interview, Ye goes on Alex Jones, and he brings on this guy Nicholas Fuentes, he's like an America First guy. I don't really know the whole deal there, but they have this conversation, and they get into all these types of stuff. And so Ye doesn't know to split the terms to say what he means.
But does he know what he means? Does he know the difference?
Okay, he knows the difference. He knows what he means, and I'm going to prove that right now.
Oh, good.
And I'm going to prove that he's talking about a specific one, but since he's not separating it from the other two, it looks like you hate an ethnicity and you hate a nation. You know what I mean? So during the interview, at one point, Nick Fuentes, okay, so Ye's problem is with 6 specific Jews. Okay?
What type of, what specific word are we?
I'm just using his term.
Okay,
6,
gotcha.
we're going to get to that, right? So then in the Alex Jones interview, he's talking, and then Nick Fuentes jumps in, and he says, yeah, but the reason why, I don't know, he says these anti-Jewish things or something is because, and then he makes a claim against Jewish people. He's talking about, and this is what he says. He says, from the Talmud, Jews are taught that pedophilia or forced attack of a minor is a sin unless it's with a non-goyim. So by that, I mean...
With a goyim.
It's a sin unless it's with a goyim. Yeah, correct. So basically what he's saying is that in the Talmud, it teaches them that they can sexually assault your children and it's not a sin, right? And that is in the Talmud.
And the Talmud is?
The Talmud is so they go off the Torah, which is the first 5 books of the Bible, and then they have the Talmud, which is this enormous treatise of the rabbinical teachings, which they use to make moral decisions and stuff. But it's like, imagine there's somebody who follows a religion that says that they can sexually assault my children. So number 1, you can't live in my neighborhood, right? Number 2, you can't go near my schools. Number 3, you need some type of electronic monitoring device to stay with, maybe even like a Star of David patch or something. But do you know what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is Nick Fuentes is talking about only religious Jews. He's not claiming, so Kanye is also talking about religious Jews. Because Kanye is not talking about like, oh, those people who get Tay-Sachs disease, they're terrible.
Oh, okay.
They're not terrible. There's Christians, there's all types of people. There's mean ones, there's psychos, there's friendly ones, there's good neighbors, there's bad neighbors. He's talking about a religious group that has a religious cultural influence on their community that has a negative thing. In his opinion, that's what he's saying. And so basically everybody sits around and says, man, he's a racist. He talks bad about, what? He's not said anything about Hebrews. He doesn't care a lick about Hebrews. He's talking about 6 specific Jews who have done him wrong in coordination with each other because of whatever their beliefs and that it's right for them to do this. You know what I'm saying? That's his claim.
But so he's claiming without saying so that they're religious Jews.
Yeah, absolutely. Because
Okay.
they're talking about the Talmudic influence on these
right.
people.
Okay.
Do you know what I'm saying? And that's how you know they're not. So then if you've ever sat around and had the conversation and said, man, why is he so racist? Well, see, you've been tricked. Because when you heard the word Jew, you used it as an ethnicity and nationality. It's a trap. Sorry, it's a trap. You've got to separate the three. So the purpose of this video, because this video is going to be used to link to other videos where we talk about this so that people can see the link between the three different things and separate them themselves. Whenever somebody uses the word anti-Semitic or racist in regard to the word Jew, right? Stop, pause, break down that word. What are they talking about?
Yeah, I was going to ask you, what is anti-Semitic then? Is that we don't know?
It's people who dislike Jews.
Gotcha.
You could say, I'm not a favor of the foreign policy of Israel. Racist. No, the leaders of Israel, the nation, you're a racist because you're conflating. And so therefore you're anti-Semitic. So you could say something racist, you could say something religious, you could say something against a country. And either way, you're going to be all three of those things because the anti-Semitism covers them all.
Oh, it's a catch-all. So it's part of the trap, kind of.
It's a trap. It's a beautiful, well laid out trap.
Amazing, yeah.
Even like I was watching, so Ye had went on Tim Pool's show, Timcast IRL, and then he had left, like stormed off, They were sitting around talking about it for a long time. And there's a guy on there, Ian, and he's sitting there and he's thinking about it. He's like, I kind of feel like it's not right that we're using the same term for, I just don't know what the other terms could be. You got it.
You're close. You're right there.
There was a joke about like, does he roll a 20 or you almost had the 20. You almost had it. So this principle can be used in hundreds of conversations. Like if you look at almost any news story or something where they say, ooh, anti-Semitic uprising or something like that, you're probably going to look at it and it's probably going to be like, some people like the state of Israel and some people don't. Okay. People aren't wild about that. I've never heard of anybody who has anything to say about Hebrews. Those descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, oh, those descendants, that would be a racist. I don't even think racists do that. But you have heard plenty of people who are not a fan of religious Jews. But what you're talking about is religionists. You've also got a lot of people talking bad about Islam. They're religionists. They're not racist. They're religionists. You could be from Islam. You could be black. You could be Arab. You could be white.
That's true.
I got attempted to get, somebody tried to convert me to Islam.
Oh, okay.
Like I'm just some white guy, and he's my coworker and I'm just like reading the Quran and I'm like, hey, what's up with this? What's up with this? And I finish it. I do the 30-day read. It's separated into a 30-day read.
Oh, okay.
He comes to work the next day and he's like, hey, here's my personal, it's all wrapped beautifully. He's like, here's my personal Quran. He's like, it's got a 7-day read. Do you want to borrow it? And I'm like, absolutely. And I do the 7-day read, but he would have recruited me. It's, Islam is not based on race. Christianity is not based on race. You're allowed to be a religionist is all I'm saying. So let me give you an example. If I say, get ready, brace yourselves for some religionism here. I just made that word up. It's a terrible word, but there's just not a word for it. So what if I said, hey, I'm against genital mutilation. Therefore, I think Muslims have it wrong when they do female circumcision. Can I say that or am I racist? How could I be a racist? I'm saying something about one tiny part of a religion. Yeah. You know what I mean? Am I allowed to or not? And if I'm not, then let's just not even talk anymore because that's silly, Right. Now, let's do Judaism. Let's do Christianity, right? Hey, I find myself newly against genital mutilation. Right. Not a big fan. Just had a kid. Didn't have him cut apart. I understand why they had that policy in place. They didn't have indoor plumbing.
Yeah.
Now we do. Sorry, I don't need to cut my kid up. Just not a big fan. And that might offend you. You might be a hardcore religious Jew or Christian, and but I'm allowed to have that opinion. It's a decent opinion, we'll say. You could argue, and there are arguments for doing it, But if you shut the conversation down and say religionism off the table, yeah. And okay, here's where you got to draw the line.
Okay.
When you start rounding people up,
okay, you
got to say no to that, right? But you and I can have an opinion about different religions. We could have somebody on our show and have an opinion, and we could be religionists as all get out. You know who's a big religionist? Sam Harris, atheist, hates Christians. Okay, no, sorry. He hates Christianity.
Okay.
He hates Christianity. He rails against it. I'm fine with that. You are a religionist. You're welcome to, you can't round people up though. Okay.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is you've got to be free to have these opinions, you know? And because of the trick used words with the word Jew, you're not allowed to speak anything about religious Judaism and religious Jews. In reality, religious Judaism has a lot of things in it we could talk about. Things that go against all the morality of the West, we'll say. Actually, there was a quote, I don't have his name, but there was a quote from a religious Jew who said, if the Goyim ever find out what's in our Talmud, they're going to kill us all. Because it's so, we already talked about raping your kids, you know? That's on the table. And that's not, I mean, it just goes from there. But can I talk crap about that or not? And the answer is no, because you'd be a Hebrewist, a racist, you know? But no, it has nothing to do with Hebrews. I could care less. It could be a black guy I'm talking to who's an ethnic Jew. You know, actually, there's black people, there's white people who all claim to be,
Oh, right.
the chosen people. And it could just be anybody, literally. And so I'm just saying, every time you see a story that has anti-Semitism or the word Jew in it, break it down, stop, and say, what word are they using? And then see if the sentence makes sense. It might not make sense then. That person loses all credibility. And they could lose credibility because they've been tricked. That is a real thing. Right. With Lex Fridman, he's too smart. I'm not buying it. See, with Ian, he was tricked because you could tell he was trying to critical thinking. Right. He was trying to get to the problem and fail. You know, I don't think Tim was even close enough to grabbing it.
No.
But, you know, so it could be ignorance, but just don't be the ignorant one. Don't be pulled in by this trash.
Gotcha. That is an incredible lesson. I don't know that I've ever broken that down. While you're talking, I was trying to figure out, are there other countries, religions that have this confusion? And I couldn't think of anything, even just that match two of the three.
Right.
And yeah, that's an incredible like word puzzle that you get stuck in and you end up having no idea what you're talking about. Hope you guys got something out of it like I did. If you enjoyed this, share with your friends. You almost have to reprogram people on how they speak so you can have a conversation. And this is why we bring this up, because words are important. How we communicate is important. When we say things and they come out of our mouth, we want them to get into your head and still have the same meaning as when we say them, so that we're really getting ideas across. And it's important for everyone. So please share this. Hope you liked it. Leave a comment below if it had an impact on you. We'd love to hear from you. We'll see you next time.